Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for starting off your Thursday with us here on Up with KREM. I'm Channing Curtis. Meteorologist Thomas Patrick is working hard there in the Weather Center. But Thomas, guess what? It's Friday Eve.
Yeah, it's Friday Eve. Love to hear that.
You know, it makes everything better.
It really does. And for those that want snowfall in the mountains, I think this forecast is going to be a forecast for you because snow does make things better for those slopes overall. And we need the cold air first. And the cold front is inbound. All that rain and snow that you see over the Cascades for western Washington, that is the cold front. And that's going to slide that precipitation ever eastward. So if we're seeing a little bit of a light drizzle or light flurry this morning, that's the moisture that's well out ahead of the frontal system itself. But it will get that cold air to arrive later today. Spokane International Airport is reporting some form of mist or drizzle or flurries. That's why you see the rain snow combined icon there. We're right at 32 degrees, which means that'll be about our low temperature for the day. So any precipitation during the day is likely going to be rain like yesterday, but we'll have better snow chances later on this week and weekend.
Well, in a vague statement, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown actually announced yesterday that the city will be transitioning the role of fire chief. Mayor Brown did not specify whether Chief Brian Schaefer is stepping down or being removed from his position. Now, he's been with the department since 2005 and was appointed chief in 2017. Brown's statement reads in part, quote, "I am consulting with fire department leadership, including Chief Brian Schaefer, to develop a plan and process for transitioning the role of fire chief. Discussions are underway and scheduled to continue over the next week. As the plan is being developed, the Spokane Fire Department will continue to provide excellent public safety services for our community every day," end quote. Well, a man is accused of kidnapping a woman and shooting her friend in northwest Spokane this week. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk joins us with newly uncovered details in the investigation.
Harrington ran into a house right after the shooting, and several other adults and children hid to protect themselves. Today, we learned the 44-year-old has a lengthy criminal history.
Your Honor, this is number 7, Torrin Harrington.
Torrin Harrington is a convicted felon. He's not allowed to own or possess guns, but Spokane police say he used one to shoot a man at this home Tuesday off West Francis. Police say they found the victim outside a short distance away with a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Officers say they found Harrington inside the home, along with several children and adults hiding to protect themselves. Harrington sat in court Wednesday, shaking his head as Commissioner Eugene Cruz read off the charges against him, including several counts of assault, kidnapping, and burglary.
Do you understand those charges, sir?
I guess so, yes.
According to police, the shooting happened the day after a domestic violence incident. Investigators say Harrington hit a female friend with a gun and forced her into a car before driving around the city. The next day, police say Harrington returned to the home where he also lives and shot a man who's friends with the woman. Officers say the 44-year-old also threatened and pointed the gun at other people inside the home. Harrington has 26 adult convictions according to court records and a pending assault charge in Spokane Municipal Court. Prosecutors asked the court to set bond in the amount of $100,000.
Based on the reservation and the criminal history that is concerning and does create concerns for community safety, the court will be adopting the bond that is being requested by the state. That bond will be set at $100,000.
Just about 6:05 right now. Let's take a look at your morning rush. More news in less time. Oil leaking from a local paper company's equipment caused that mysterious sheen that was found alongside the Spokane River. Officials say the Inland Empire Paper Company experienced a cooling equipment failure that resulted in a mineral oil leak. The leak was quickly resolved. The department says that the oil isn't hazardous and is not harmful to human or aquatic life. A report from the Washington Department of Health shows that flu-like activity is considered high in our state right now, with cases of both the flu and RSV on the rise. 16 flu-related deaths have been reported so far since the season began in October, with 2 in Spokane County. Big cuts could be coming to the Coeur d'Alene Parks Department. According to our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press, a new parks improvement plan will cut $6 million from the $17 million budget. The savings come from cutting down several areas of the budget, including the money for acquiring future land. A new report finds that Spokane is one of the least expensive cities in the state. The report from Doxo Insight showed Spokane residents pay about $1,900 in bills every month. That's a little lower than the national average and a lot lower than the state average, which is closer to $2,500 a month. And if you are hoping to catch sight of some bald eagles, the time is now. The eagles have been hanging out around Lake Coeur d'Alene in record numbers this year. The Bureau of Land Management counted 347 eagles on Tuesday and a record 409 eagles back on December 20th. That's nearly double the total from last year around this time when officials counted just 227. And that's a look at your morning rush. Governor Brad Little is visiting North Idaho today. So this morning, our Nicole Hernandez is joining us live from Hayden, where he will be visiting later this afternoon. So Nicole, can you tell us more about the governor's visit and what he really plans on talking about?
Yeah, Channing, absolutely. So Governor Little will be here at the Stancraft Jet Center in Hayden, Idaho. He's going to be here specifically to talk about the state's new launch program. So the launch program is something that Governor Little started to help give high school students who are going into in-demand jobs here in the state different scholarships. Applications for this program opened this past fall, and now Governor Little will be here in North Idaho to tell us how many students have applied to the program over the first few months. This program is part of his overall Idaho First plan. It gives students 80% of tuition or $8,000 scholarships to pursue those jobs in in-demand careers. There's a whole list of those in-demand careers online through this program. It's a long list actually, and some of them have thousands of job openings across the state. Some of those include jobs like teaching, engineering, carpentry, restaurant workers, so lots of different job opportunities for students heading into the workforce. In Hayden, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Well, Idaho state leaders are officially calling a learning loss prevention program a win. The Empowering Parents Grant Program offered families up to $3,000 to buy school supplies and other school resources. Now, previously, the program was facing criticism after an internal audit found that $180,000 may have been spent on items that were not related to schools. But state leaders now believe that misused dollar figure is much lower. An external audit found roughly $40,000 were used to buy items outside of the list of approved materials and services. Out of the $40 million dealt to Idaho families, $40,000 is just about 0.1%.
Where I came from, 99.99 is an A.
The state audit also says ineligible transactions will be reversed to reimburse the state. Governor Brad Little says this program gives Idaho families more options, like those who are homeschooling their students. And with the legislative session just around the corner, new state budgets will outline how your tax money is being spent. A proposed public schools budget is looking to fill a $162 million hole created after a recent change in the public school funding formula. Now, Idaho used to base school funding off of attendance, but when the pandemic happened, the legislature switched funding to an enrollment-based formula. That formula just reverted back to attendance. So now there's a $162 million discrepancy between the two funding formulas. The state superintendent is now proposing a budget that includes a line item that would allow districts to capture the money that they believe was left on the table.
We want a student-centered system and making sure that our students and our parents feel as though they have access to the resources that they need so that their child is prepared is important. Well, we want to balance that with being reasonable and conservative on how we approach how much taxes go into that effort.
This proposed budget was submitted back in September, and it will be discussed in the upcoming legislative session.
Just about 6:10, and our weather conditions again are decently mild for the morning hours. We've seen this more often than not so far this winter, with our current temperatures at about 32 degrees or above. So any precipitation that we're seeing this morning is not just light, but could be rain, or if it's snow, it's just melting as it's hitting the ground, because we just haven't been below the freezing mark at all recently. During the day, we should get up to about 38, 39 degrees. At that point, again, it would just be a rainfall event like what we saw yesterday, more rain, a little less snow. And while we could see a bit of a mist or a flurry this morning, I think the main wave hits us later tonight. And that wave is a cold front, and that will set the stage for better chances for accumulating snow by this weekend. And we're going to cover how much snow is in the works for the inland Northwest. All my full forecast in a few minutes.